Hello everyone. Have you heard of robotic companions for seniors? Today on my podcast, I have my guest, Tom Stevens. He is the CEO of Tombot. And what you see on the screen is Jennie. Jennie is the companion and the star of the day today. And we will be talking a lot about Jennie and how Jennie is helping all the seniors. Tom have 35 years of experience in the healthcare, robotics, mental health, pet, AI, and high-tech industry. He graduated from Stanford University Graduate School of Business. Prior to that, he has done his Bachelor of Science from UCLA. So, Tom, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself, introduce Jennie, and then we will dive deep into what you're trying to build here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anshu. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Tom Stevens. My background is I've been in high-tech for 35 years. My first positions in the high-tech world were in hardware companies and large software companies. I joined a startup in the late 80s, and we ended up building that company into one of the world's largest litigation automation companies. I had about 1,500 employees and contractors at our peak, clients and operations, and 3 continents. And we were successfully acquired in 2011, which gave me the freedom to think about other things. So that's when the whole idea for this came about.
So I understand that, you had a pretty large exit in 2011. So tell us a little more about it.
So that was an interesting journey. My 2 partners were both 20 years older than I was. I was a very young man when I joined that company, so very much taken under their wing and mentored into someone who actually could do the job. And with their mentorship, we ended up being in the right place at the right time. As the world of litigation moved from paper documents to electronically stored information, it required a great deal of technical expertise to deal with electronically stored information, a lot of data processing, a lot of knowledge of systems and systems integration. And so we were one of the few companies that had any of those skills. And as the courts demanded compliance with discovery orders, we were one of the few companies that could actually assist corporations in responding. So that allowed us to grow with that into a very large company. Actually had operations in India for a time. So that was also a great experience, becoming much more international in my business outlook.
Right. Thanks. Thank you for that. So your mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer, and that played a role in thinking about Jennie and, coming in this market space. So take us through that journey. How did it start, and what were the key points that prompted you to start with a robotic companion company?
Absolutely. So my mother and I were always close. My mother was a special education teacher. You may notice there are some tennis rackets on the wall behind me. I took after her interest in athletics. My dad, who was a practicing attorney, he was more of the bookworm type. But my mom was the jock in the family. And so she and I spent a lot of time with each other. But as she got older, she started having more and more mental health issues. We finally got that diagnosed as Alzheimer's dementia. The result of that is I had to end up taking over many aspects of her life and making some very difficult decisions on her behalf. And by far the most difficult one was the day I realized she could no longer safely care for her 2-year-old golden doodle puppy. She loved that animal. It went everywhere with her. It was her primary companion, but it was a safety hazard for her and for her caregiver. We successfully found a new home for that puppy, but my mom was furious. Every day was, where's my dog? Why can't I have my dog? When am I getting my dog back? I looked around for substitutes for live animal companions. Everything I brought home, she hated. And it was at that time I realized that there was a large gap in the marketplace that launched me on what ultimately became a multi-year research and education journey, culminating in that master's degree from Stanford. And I learned that my mom's story is shared by tens of millions of other seniors around the world with dementia, and well over 1 billion people in total that have some form of serious mental or physical health adversity that limits their ability to safely or practically care for a live animal. And so we launched Tombot in 2017 to be in service to those people.
Mm-hmm. So why a dog? Why not a cat?
So great question. A cat is coming is the short answer, but this is very much a data-driven thing. So despite her being kind of cute and fun and a novelty product, she's actually a serious medical device. She'll be the first to be both an FDA medical device and a remote safety and health monitoring platform. This is a very well-researched area. Over 150 peer-reviewed studies to date show that where a senior with dementia can form a robust emotional attachment to a robotic animal, they get a great deal of relief from the behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia. Loneliness, anxiety, depression, in my mother's case, hallucinations and violent anger. And they see a reduction in need for dangerous psychotropic medications. So what we wanted to understand is, the need is to develop an emotional attachment. And what we needed to understand was what seniors with dementia wanted to emotionally attach to. And we did 3 rounds of customer studies, created 5 generations of high-fidelity prototypes. This Jennie is the 5th generation of those prototypes. And what we learned is they have a very strong preference for realism in appearance, realism in texture, but most importantly, realism in behaviors. We teamed up with Jim Henson's Creature Shop, the people behind Muppets and Sesame Street, to perform all of our artistic design. And with their help, we're building the world's most realistic robotic animals. They're scientifically designed to stimulate emotional attachment. And then once that emotional attachment's in place, we become a unique platform for monitoring those seniors for safety and health. It was actually through those studies that we learned that more people preferred dogs or were indifferent to the animal than people who wanted cats. It was about 70% we wanted a cat or were good with either, but about 30% said they want a cat, they don't want a dog, so we will come out with a cat at some point.
For sure. And Jennie is what breed? She's 5th generation, what breed?
Jennie is modeled after an 8 to 10 week old Labrador Retriever puppy. There are a lot of reasons why we chose a lab puppy. One is that they've been among the most popular dogs in America for the last 30 plus years. Secondly, there's a great deal of evidence that people associate friendly traits with yellow colored dogs with floppy ears as opposed to dark colored dogs with pointy ears, think Doberman Pinscher. The labs come naturally in 4 different colors, yellow, black chocolate, and a pale chocolate that's referred to as silver, the same fur as on the Weimaraner breed. But the other thing is that the puppies are large enough for us to fit all of the technology inside them. I have to show you this one. This is what Jennie looks like without any of the fur. And it's still a relatively small dog because it's an 8 to 10 week old puppy. But if it were a Chihuahua, it'd be this big, and we wouldn't be able to fit all of the technology inside it, at least for our first model. It actually has 9 motors inside it to drive 5 different mechanical subsystems. So we needed a puppy, something that looked cute and adorable, but also be large enough to accommodate all the technology.
Let's talk about the technology and let's hold our thought on that. What technologies are inbuilt in Jennie?
So there are 2 quick things before I dive into the detail. There are 2 metrics in product development that we followed very closely. One is product market fit. which simply defined is solving a customer's problem in a way that they love. Well, for us, that's not love like you love your coffee maker. It's love like you could love a real live puppy. And so our product had to be good enough to generate the same kind of feelings of affection that a real live puppy could. And then secondly, minimum viable product. Our go-to-market customer is a senior with dementia, and very important to not build a $10,000 or $100,000 robot, even though a $10,000 or $100,000 robot would be better. It's more than is needed to actually generate product market fit. So the technology in this is designed specifically for seniors with dementia. Once again, 5 mechanical subsystems. The mouth opens and closes, but not just open and close. A lot of fine expressiveness like puppies can do. The eyes and eyebrows move. The ears. The head and neck. This was actually one of the biggest challenges because there are 5 motors in the neck to create that great range of movement and refine expressiveness. But it also had to be durable enough that if it fell, and our puppies are designed to sit on laps or on table or chairs, so they're always in an elevated position. So the risk of falling is great. If they fall, we have to make sure they don't break. So that was important. And then the 5th subsystem is the tail. Of course, it's got to wag like a real puppy's tail does. The dog is covered with sensors. So just like you or me, the robot has a sensory system. Yes, you do. She can feel where she's touched. She can tell the difference between a simple touch, a slow caress, vigorous pet, and being held. We come with a smartphone app that allows our users to do a number of initial configuration settings, including naming the robot, and then once it's named, it will only respond to that given name. Jennie, want a treat? You not sure? Jennie, want a treat? So we get demoing prototypes, always a nervous thing. She can feel herself being moved, so accelerometers and gyros. She has other sensors like light and temperature and current draw, all of which are designed to help her understand her environment, make an inference about what that means, and then exhibit a behavior that's appropriate for that given environmental context. So we try to make these our puppies exactly as lifelike as a lap dog, a lap puppy would be, except for you don't need to take it out for walks, and you don't have to feed it anything other than electricity to recharge the batteries.
So how long the battery would last?
So when you think about the technology inside the robot, think smartphone that moves. So similar memory, similar processor, similar battery type and battery life. She's designed to last all day on a single charge and then be plug-in rechargeable overnight. You'll notice here on the video and also online, she's frequently seen on a bed. She's very portable. She only weighs about 5.5 pounds. But we'll offer a bed like this as an optional accessory. If she's simply placed on it, if she's simply placed on it, she'll wirelessly recharge.
Wow, great technology. So, how much does it cost? How much does the time it takes to manufacture? Where is the manufacturing and where is the marketplace?
Gotcha. So first things first, we haven't finalized our end pricing yet. Our company works very well on a financial model basis, 50% gross margins. We're targeting $750 fully loaded cost of goods sold. We'll confirm that in about 45 days. And as soon as we do, we'll lock down that pricing. But we're targeting $750, so the sale price is likely to be $1,500. Our contract manufacturing partner is a Hong Kong-based company. We're not sure yet where the manufacturing is going to go, but it's for sure going to come initially out of Asia. They have manufacturing facilities in mainland China, Vietnam, and Thailand. And given a number of different circumstances, that will dictate where we end up starting that. We are in final alpha pre-production right now. We'll finish that up here in the next several weeks. Once we do that, we'll go into final design for manufacturing and beta testing. And once we have a beta version that's working well, we'll lock everything down, get our safety certifications, and begin manufacturing. But we're looking at deliveries in 2025. We'll get clinical studies and other evaluations started this year, but first paid customer shipments will be in 2025. I'm trying to think if there was another question.
Yeah, and the marketplace, the individual users are going to buy it, or are you going to sell it through Medi-Cal? How does that work?
So all of the above. 83% of seniors with dementia here in the United States live at home and are cared for by an unpaid family member. By definition, a senior with dementia is fully disabled, and so they need 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week care. And so it's most likely that's going to be a family member, a spouse, a son, a daughter, daughter-in-law, that's going to do that. So the customer is actually the family member who buys it on behalf of their loved one with dementia. That will be a B2C direct sale for $1,500. But we also are a B2B company. We sell to hospitals, assisted living, memory care facilities, skilled nursing facilities, and so forth. And today we have over 6,500 pre-order and waitlist customers, including over 200 of those B2B customers, both here in the United States and in 86 other countries around the world.
Wow, that is, you already had pre-orders going on. So, the thing is that there are, 9 months left in this year. So why 2025? Why not rush it in 2024?
Well, there's a reason why there are no hyper-realistic robotic animals. It's really difficult tech. And so it just takes time. I mean, they're garden variety technology like our microcontrollers, PCBA boards, all of that's fairly routine, but nobody's ever used motors the way we're using them. No one's ever run the software the way we are. And then, of course, all of the cosmetics and the fur, the mechanical elements that drive those things. Nobody's ever done this before. So we're learning as we go, and it's going well, but it's not going perfectly. It just takes time to get these things dialed in. Mm-hmm. And how much customers have very high expectations for the product. So we can't send one out that has duct tape on it just to get it out the door. It's got to work, look and feel and work the way they expect it to.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And you said a word MVP. I call it minimum lovable product, MLP. Because unless your customer have the customer delight, the product is not going to move. Be it a software platform, be it an app, be it a product, the MLP need to be developed in the right way. And, you have taken 6 years to do that. You're in your 7th year now. And, Jennie is 5.0. And I can understand with the high technology that goes into such kind of a product, it is not easy. Otherwise, China would have come out with something like that.
Exactly right. And lovable sounds like a subjective term, but it really is not. It's very objective and can be measured quantitatively. And one of the mistakes I think a lot of startups do is they rely too much on gut and intuition and too little on data, and particularly from the voice of the customer. And right. Figuring out where these things are, because overbuilding a product is as harmful as underbuilding a product. Figuring out how to assess minimum viable or minimum lovable product is actually one of the critical things that every startup has to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I so much agree with you. Tell us through the biggest challenges in the last 7 years that you have gone through.
Well, there are all kinds of technology challenges, but those are overcomable with enough time and effort. So far, they've been all overcomable. The biggest challenge really has been financial. I was naive when I started this business. Because of my previous exit, I was able to fund the first few years of the company's existence. But then I went out looking to raise money, and I actually raised from angels pretty quickly. But it was only because these angels were connected to the study participants that we had while we were doing our initial customer studies. When we went out to venture capital and other institutional investors, we knocked on a lot of doors, and a lot of doors didn't open for us. And that was surprising. What I came to learn, came to appreciate, is that 90+% venture capital firms will only invest in software. They'll never invest in hardware, which means that we're already looking for a very small percentage of the institutional investor population to even talk to us. And then most of the rest of the people that would consider an investment on us view a pre-revenue healthcare robotics company as being very risky. And so they want to see us get to first customer shipment. And robots are capital intensive. We've raised over $9 million and deployed much of that. And so there's a lot of investment in advancing the technology, overcoming the challenges, and hiring and retaining talented employees and contractors. Today, for example, we have 21 employees and contractors working on our project right now. So there's a lot of work to do, and there are not a lot of investors that are willing to invest at this stage. And so one of the things that I wish I had done, rather than just jumping into this search for capital, is try to make better use of grants. There is a lot of money that's available in SBIR grants from different agencies, federal agencies. I wish I'd pursued that more vigorously, but it's time consuming. There's a good chance you're not going to get it. There are always strings attached if you do get it. So we were moving fast. We didn't want to slow down, and that created a lot of risk on the company that I could have avoided had we taken more full advantage of grant pursuit.
Sure. Where is your employee base? Are they all based here in the U.S.? Do you have international employees?
We're a pretty international company. All of our on payroll employees are here in California, but we have contractors spread out throughout the U.S. We have contractors in Latin America. We also have contractors in Asia. The key for us, because these are things that are so difficult to do, is it's not a matter of, hey, I can buy employees or contractors less expensively elsewhere. I need to buy people that can actually do the work, and it's a small pool of people that have the requisite experience to work on a product like this, and it's an incredibly diverse range of people. So you find them where they are, and associate with them as you're able to.
Right. So let's talk about the market size. In my research, there are 55+ million seniors with dementia. So the market size is very, very big. Let's talk a little about it. How do you see that?
So the tragic thing about dementia, and just for people who are not familiar with the details, dementia is not a disease in itself. It's a condition. It's caused by an underlying disease, the most common of which is Alzheimer's. But it's also caused by Parkinson's, Lewy bodies, vascular dementia, mixed or frontotemporal dementia. So there are a lot of different causes of dementia, all of which are progressive in nature, all of which are terminal in nature. So that means if something else doesn't get them first, this will be the cause of death. So there are over 55 million seniors with dementia. But the day that you are diagnosed with something like Alzheimer's dementia isn't your first day with Alzheimer's. You've had Alzheimer's for years at that point. And so there's this massive pre-dementia mild cognitive impairment base too. So mild cognitive impairment means cognitive impairment that's greater than age-related cognitive decline. All of us, as we age, we're not quite as sharp as we were when we were 26. But normal age-related cognitive decline means we're going to still be healthy, cognitively healthy through our later years. But if we have a disease, a cognitive disease like Alzheimer's, that ends up degrading our cognitive capability, and people specifically with Alzheimer's can live in a state of mild cognitive impairment for a very long time. That's a much larger population. That's at least 3 times the number, so another 150 million. So between pre-dementia and post-dementia, that's about 200 million people, which is truly an extraordinary number. What's also tragic about it is that once you're diagnosed with dementia, on average, you have about 4.5 years of life expectancy, which means it's a little bit like a university system. For every graduating class of seniors, there's an incoming class of freshmen to take their place that's slightly larger. There's growth in this space. So there are a lot of people that are cycling through Alzheimer's and other causes of dementia every single year. And many of them die without getting any kind of aid. And so it is one of the great tragedies.
Well, yeah. Challenges a little more. Did you have to pivot at any given point of time when you started thinking about the product, and then, you launched the 1.0 till today? What type of pivots have you done?
No pivots. So one of the wonderful experiences we had was really from the dementia community, both the family members on behalf of their loved ones, but also the senior care professionals. There are a lot of products out there to help diagnose Alzheimer's and other dementia, but there's almost nothing out there to treat it. So no therapeutics. And so we're other than being a cute puppy, we're also one of the very few therapeutic devices of any kind that are out there to treat it. So we were very warmly welcomed into that. Without that community, and without exaggeration, literally thousands of people have helped us in large and small ways along our path, and helped convince us that this is a problem that we should be working on. So we didn't have some of the experiences of pivots. Like I had a previous startup that we pivoted because there was nobody wanted to buy the product. It was cool tech, but nobody wanted to buy it. Here, just the opposite. We have a huge market of people that want to buy the product, but the challenges of bringing the technology to the market were tremendous. So no pivots per se, but this has taken us much longer than we had initially projected. It's taken more capital than we had initially projected. And so, there are a lot of people that are frustrated. We're frustrated. Our customers are frustrated. Our investors are frustrated. Simply because it's difficult to predict how long it is going to take to overcome something. The good news is we're very close to the finish line, so we're running out of reasons for this to trip us up, but there's still work to do.
Right. So 2025 first, shipment is going to happen. Where do you see Tombot in the next 4 or 5 years?
Well, we're a high revenue, high gross margin company. So we have a number of, assuming we hit our sales milestones, assuming we don't run into, big manufacturing problems or product issues, we'll have a number of choices. First of all, as I mentioned at the outset, there are a lot of people, there are well over 1 billion people that have some form of mental or physical health adversity. So these include children with autism, adolescents with severe anxiety, depression, suicide risk, adults with PTSD, bipolar, schizophrenia, and adults and seniors who live alone and are at risk of social isolation and severe loneliness. We want to help all of those people. This product was designed for a senior with dementia. We need to study as carefully these other customer segments as we have with seniors with dementia. But it's our hypothesis that we're going to need more advanced technology to generate the same minimal lovable product response with these other customer segments as we do with the seniors with dementia. So the full AI version, a version that can ultimately walk, people can take out for walks, go play fetch at the park, stimulating physical activity and social engagement, but also expanding on our suite of monitoring capability. So having the full suite of services for safety and health monitoring. All of that is in our product roadmap. It will take us a number of years to execute on that, but it's our goal to be not just a large company financially, but a large company in terms of the number of people that we're actually making a difference in their lives.
Yeah, Tom, what is the most rewarding aspect of being a startup founder for you?
Well, so I'm actually rather risk adverse. So being a startup founder makes me nervous, even though I've done it now a couple times. What makes this worthwhile is talking to the customer, hearing the voice of the customer, and problematizing the customer. Up in Silicon Valley, they love to call it the hair on fire problem. You know, if you're not working on a hair on fire problem, you probably don't have a basis for existence. Well, our customer has a hair on fire problem. If they don't get it solved, people die. Quality of life issues persist. Rapid overuse of medications persist. And the impact on the family members. The burden of care frequently falls to a daughter and daughter-in-law who's taken out of the workplace, either full-time or part-time out of the workplace. I'm boring Jennie, so she went to sleep. So the best days really are talking to those customers, understanding their problems, and understanding the hope that they have for us to be successful to solve their problems. Those are the very best days, and that's what makes the startup journey worthwhile. Also having a personal connection to this problem with my mother. Late stage dementia, my mother couldn't tell me what she had for breakfast on a given day, but she always remembered I was working on robots for her, and it was what she wanted to talk about. And it really was why we were able to salvage our relationship. And so that's what makes a startup worthwhile. It's having the choice to work on something that you deeply care about, that you get a tremendous meaning out of it and purpose from it, is not just a pure financial play, because truth is, this is a very difficult thing to do if you want to make money. There are lots of other things you can do to make money, certainly in the short run.
Yeah. So any entrepreneur who is looking at various type of, who are working on various type of startup idea in the deep tech, what one or two piece of advice you will give after spending 35 plus years in high-tech industry, and you are a serial entrepreneur, so what pure advice you would like to give them, which they can't find anywhere, by reading books or watching YouTube videos? Sure.
There are really three core areas of every company that are critical. The engineering, of course, you've got to have the ability to do the tech that you're working on. Secondly, the marketing of it, which begins with product development and understanding the customer. You have to be willing to become an expert in that. If you're afraid of reading books or scientific articles or talking to customers, probably not the right job for you. But lastly, in this part I overlooked, you need to have a financial model that assures you're going to have the funding to make the journey from ideation all the way to cash flow break even, and beyond if you want to scale the business with additional funding. I'm pretty capable with financial models. But I just underestimated how long and how hard it was going to be to raise the funding. So getting greater funding certainty before you jump off the cliff and hope that you can fly is a mistake that I made. And I think other people, hopefully hearing this, can do a better job get it lined up beforehand, get more greater certainty of funding, and make sure that you're not going to get halfway there, a bridge to nowhere. You're going to get halfway there and not be able to reach the land on the other side. We're very, very fortunate in retrospect to land a few deep-pocketed investors that bailed us out when we needed to. Not every company has that benefit, and with the macroeconomic conditions of the last couple of years, a lot of companies have failed. Our securities counsel told me the other day that he's worked on more company dissolutions in the last year than he has in his entire career combined. So this is tough. It's tough to raise the money. It's tough to keep the cash flowing through the company. Make sure you have a solid financial plan in place before doing anything. In that way, you don't run into the surprise like, whoa, where's the next money?
So, Tom, you are also in the fundraising mode. How much you are raising? What are the terms, if you mind sharing it? What vehicle, what type of valuation, what we are looking at here?
Gotcha. So we've raised about $9.5 million to date. Our current round is a $6 million round. We've raised 4.5 officially. I've got that in the bank. I've got another 300,000 in verbal commitments. So the remainder is a $1.2 million difference. It's at $12.5 million pre-money. It's a priced round. And for preferred shares.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming on the show and, giving your valuable time. Jennie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All the best for Jennie 5.0 and all the best for shipping out the first product. And I'll be seeing you very, very soon, in the last week of April here in Long Beach at the event of TIE. And all the best to you, Tom. I'm sure, the product, there is a product market fit, there is a need in the market, and you will be very, very successful.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed my time today.